時に2月15日、我が猛攻の前についに屈したイギリス軍は我が軍門に下る。8機を掲げた敵将パーシバルは、指定せられた会見の場所、フォード自動車会社跡に昇然たる歩みを進める。やがて我が山下最高指揮官もこの場に到着。旅順海上の水死営会見にも比すべき歴史的両将軍の会見が始まったのである。山下将軍はまず敵側代表の声明を問いただし、直ちに会見の本題に入る。我が軍の望むところはもちろんイギリス軍の無条件降伏である。敵将パーシバルが即答を嫌って、あるいは明日にあるいは数時間後にと返答を渋る。山下将軍は語気鋭く、明日とは何か、即刻の返答なくば全軍に命じて猛攻撃を開始する。それでも良いかと詰め寄る。パーシバルは答えに窮し、しばらく躊躇の色を蒼白の面上に漂わす。敵将の返答を待つ山下将軍は、この一瞬の沈黙を破るように、無条件降伏か、イエスか、ノーかと最後の決定を促す。敵将もここに至ってついに意を決し、日本軍の要求を全面的に受け入れることになった。かくて日本軍に対する抵抗を前線にわたって提出する手はずが取り決められたのである。
Through a misty rain to Governor's House in Baguio, from the Carabello Mountains of Luzon, comes another Japanese surrender mission. The last enemy forces in the Philippine Islands formally surrender. Samurai swords are taken. Also, from the delegates' pockets, several fountain pen pistols and a live hand grenade. General Yamashita, who once bore the resounding name of Tiger of Malaya. In the early days of Japanese conquest, his forces took Singapore. Later, he was given command in the Philippines. An officer reminds Yamashita to remain standing until ordered to sit down. The American delegation enters, headed by Lieutenant General W.D. Steyer. With them is Lieutenant General Percival, who surrendered to Yamashita at Singapore. General Jonathan Wainwright of Corregidor also is present, as the terms are read and the 40,000 Japanese troops still alive in the Philippines are surrendered. Major General Levy signs for the United States and United Nations. MPs take charge of the Japanese, now prisoners of war. His days of glory ended. Yamashita takes his copy of the document and goes with his guards.
The charge against the accused is as follows. Tomoyuki Yamashita, General, Imperial Japanese Army, between 9 October 1944 and 2 September 1945, at Manila and at other places in the Philippine Islands, while Commander of Armed Forces of Japan at war with the United States of America and its allies, unlawfully disregarded and failed to discharge his duty as commander to control the operations of the members of his command, permitting them to commit brutal atrocities and other high crimes against people of the United States and of its allies and dependencies, particularly the Philippines. We Commission has heard 286 persons during the course of this trial, most of whom have given eyewitness accounts of what they endured or what they saw. They include doctors, nurses, lawyers, teachers, businessmen, men and women of religious orders, prisoners of war and civilian internees, officers of the United States Army, officers of the Japanese Army and Navy, Japanese civilians, and a large number of men, women, and children of the Philippines, and the accused. Very well, Mr. Yamamoto may read the statement.
Statement. In my capacity as Commander-in-Chief of the Japanese 14th Area Army, I met and fought here in the Philippines the numerically and qualitatively superior armed forces of the United States. Throughout this engagement, I have endeavored to fulfill to the best of my ability the requirements of my position and have done my best to conduct myself at all times in accordance with the principles of fairness and justice. I have been arraigned and tried before this honorable commission as a war criminal. I wish to state that I stand here today with the same clear conscience as on the first day of my arraignment, and I swear before my Creator and everything sacred to me that I am innocent of the charges brought against me.
General Yamashita, the Commission concludes, 1, that a series of atrocities and other high crimes have been committed by members of the Japanese Armed Forces under your command against people of the United States, their allies, and dependencies throughout the Philippine Islands. That they were not sporadic in nature, but in many cases were methodically supervised by Japanese officers and non-commissioned officers. Accordingly, upon secret written ballot, 2/3 or more of the members concurring, the Commission finds you guilty as charged and sentences you to death by hanging. The accused and defense members of the defense staff and Japanese members of the defense staff will be escorted from the courtroom.
サモン隊の判決による被告者は有罪だ。被告者、その弁護士と参謀長と通訳はサモン隊の前に出廷する。出廷する。
はい、中属。